Hi everyone, my name is Alessandra and I will talk about international trade contract. Let's start. Answer the question. What's an international trade contract? An international trade contract is a kind of sale contract. It's used in international negotiation in order to achieve property or services relationship, where the elements are linked to two or more extraterritorial legal systems. Why make international contracts when importing? The existence of a formal contract raises the level of professionalism and reduces the risk of fraud. It determines the basic legislation, the possibility of changing the supply for any problems, and the country to legally resolve any disputes that may arise. It's important to remember that for international trade there are no borders. Therefore, it's regulated by rules that come from non-national sources. Their contract should establish common buying, import, and selling, export conditions, as well as establish which income terms should be adequate to such negotiation. And we cannot forget the importance of international trade styles and customs, as well as international treaties such as GATT and WTO, and economic blocs such as Mercosur and the European Union. When to make international contracts? Not all international negotiations require a contract. However, as it allows risks to be diminished, it's recommended that cargo with higher added value be supported by a legal device in transport. Special care must also be taken when dealing with new suppliers. With one you have not yet established a relationship of trust. We know how much international contracts part of international trade are, as well as commercial transactions. Therefore, having security and avoiding controversies by contracts with poorly drafted clauses end up breeding the parties great wear and tear, especially when dealing with different countries. Essential clauses in international contract. With the contract we use in everyday life, the international contract has some basic clauses that must always be present. They are income terms, deadline for delivery, validity of the contract, attachment to the proposal, if any, schedule, estimated time of arrival, delivery date, etc. Legislation under which the contract should be analyzed if there are problems. The schedule allows the parties to follow the progress of the stages as soon as the contract is signed to check that everything is going as agreed. A type to use as reference when drafting an international contract is the text of the United Nations Convention for the International Sale of Goods. It came to Brazil and brings a parameter of the clauses that should or should not be included, besides presenting indications to understand what's problem and what is not. I had a problem. Now what? Which country's law applies? If the negotiation is not supported by a contract, it is often not feasible to take legal action against the vendor. In such case, the contract should be enforced in the country where the seller is located. Therefore, Brazil, as far as international relations are concerned, is governed by principle of national independence, which prevail human rights, self-determination of peoples, and cooperation among these peoples for the development and achievement of the mankind. Articles of Federal Constitution provide that Economic order is founded on the valorization of human labor and free enterprise, with the purpose of assuring to all dignified existence in accordance with the traits of social justice, as well as observing, among the others, the principle of nation sovereignty. International contracts, when executed in Brazil, will be subject to the national legislation, when if the parties have chosen a foreign forum for the resolution of any controversies. It's worth noting that not always the pendency must be analyzed by the judiciary. Sometimes an arbitration chamber, such as the International Chamber of Commerce, may be responsibility for analysis. In this case, if a foreign chamber is used soon after the sentence is defined, it needs to be validated by the Superior Court of Justice, STJ, in Brazil, to have legitimacy here in the country. It's worth noting that an international contract involves parties that are in different countries, and the questions will arise to the form of payment negotiation, the exchange rate, the type of insurance, among the other aspects stipulated in clause.